trainers. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us as the 469th Flying Training Squadron out of Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita, Texas, leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as Mike Reif, the Van Sant Church of Christ in Van Sant, Virginia, offers our invocation.
Dear God, we thank you for protecting us this evening through the efforts and the service of all the men and women who have and who are serving in our armed forces here at home and across the world, and also our local communities, the people who are protecting us, our first responders, our town, our county, and state policemen. We are grateful for them as well. We thank you for our sponsor and our host this evening, and we pray for a fun, exciting, and safe and entertaining evening, and we pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from the Tennessee Army National Guard, Sergeant Mary Potts.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Sun goes down, the intensity picks up. Elliott Sadler made the announcement this week that this would be the end of his NASCAR career here in 2018. 3 career Cup wins, 13 Xfinity Series wins, over 850 starts in NASCAR.
growing up as a kid, I can remember thinking to myself, how cool would it be to be a race car driver?
Something about strapping in a race car, you against a machine in front of a crowd, there's nothing like it.
I love being able to compete against competitors and knowing that you're the best one that day.
David beats Goliath.
Oh, yeah, baby. Christopher Bell will win 3 in a row.
I thrive on the fact of beating people and being the best.
There's no better feeling in the world knowing you have an opportunity to compete for wins and be a part of the championship discussion.
And once again tonight, a couple of the best will be in the field. Of course, the best with Kyle Busch will be in the field. He's won more Xfinity Series races than anyone in the history of the Xfinity Series. Let's go to pit road and Marty Snyder.
Rick, it's going to be an all Joe Gibbs Racing front row at the start of this race tonight. Christopher Bell on the outside, and on the inside will be Kyle Busch. He has 9 Bristol Xfinity Series wins, but this one tonight might mean a little bit more. Well, why? Well, this is Kyle Busch's final Xfinity Series race in 2018. He would love to get Bristol win number 10 to be able to finish 2018 on a very high note, Kelly.
Well, Joey Logano is going for his 3rd straight Xfinity Series win, something he has never done in this series before. And when I talked to him just moments ago, he told me he feels good about the 22 race car, but he thinks the 42 and 18 might be just a skosh better. But then he told me, doesn't mean I can't outrace them, though. Joey Logano starts 4th, Dave.
Elliott Sadler's career has been great, and he's called the leaving of it at the end of the season bittersweet. The sweet part is that he gets to spend more time with his family. The bitter part, he's got to get out of this race car. But you get to do some cool stuff in between. In fact, let's stay right here for the command to start engines.
Okay, guys, all right, race fans, the first thing I want to do is say thank you to Food City for everything you've done for our sport and honoring me tonight to let me be the Grand Marshal. Thank you to you race fans for being a tremendous part of my life the last 2 decades. I love you guys. And thank you to our military and our men and women that serve our country each and every night so we can come out and do the things that we love. To Amanda, Wyatt, and Austin, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. And let's get this party started. I've always wanted to do this. Drivers, start your engines!
All right, go ahead and fire it up.
That was an A+. He's heard it so many times, and he gets to deliver the command. That's right. Elliott Sadler, maybe his last Bristol start right here, happening in front of us, and he gives the command to fire engines. We'll be back for the green flag next. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Shell Rotella, the engine oil that works as hard as you. Arby's, we have the meats. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. And by Ford, going further so you can. And tonight's starting grid, brought to you by Shell Rotella, will roll across the top of the screen. Up front, it's going to be Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell, two very established racers in the Xfinity Series this year. Kyle Busch, obviously the favorite. Steve, who can challenge him tonight?
Well, you saw Kyle Larson in row 2. A lot of conversation about how quick his car is. How about Elliott Sadler in row 3? Think about first ever Cup win here, maybe his last ever Xfinity start. Wouldn't it be great to see him go to victory lane?
All right, let's check in with Justin Allgaier. Let's grab him on the radio.
Hey, Justin, it's the guys up in the NBCSN booth. You with us?
Yeah, buddy, loud and clear.
Well, all day yesterday in practice, the bottom was the preferred lane. Now you're going to have to run the top. How do you do that?
Well, I think that's the interesting question. You know, obviously we got a really fast professional agriculture Camaro, but we practice a lot on the bottom. And with this thing going to the top like this, we've seen it with the Cup cars. Obviously, the area that you have to kind of race in is really narrow, so you make one small mistake and it turns into a big one real quick. So just have to mind our P's and Q's here, especially early. Make sure that we can get whatever track position we can get for the end of the race and hopefully make the right calls and put ourselves in position to go to victory lane here in just a little while.
Well, Justin, we saw in our pre-race, we showed all the trouble that lap traffic's caused here in the past. How do you manage that as you start to catch lap traffic?
Well, I think you just got to be smart. You know, I think that's the one thing with this place. It's really easy to get super frustrated. You know, I'm just as easy to blame as anybody. You know, you get a hot head and you start making dumb mistakes. And I think for us tonight, it's about, you know, making sure that we manage traffic well. My spotter, Eddie DeHaan, he's gonna have to help guide me through this. You know, it's not going to be easy, but I think going where they're not is a big deal. And I think that if you can do that, you'll be in great shape. So appreciate y'all up there. Hopefully we put on a great show for everybody, the fans in the grandstands, and all you at home watching on TV. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
We appreciate you, bud, for letting us ride along. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Let's take a look at our onboard cameras. Justin Allgaier, we saw him. He's got the Chevrolet cam tonight. Also has the helmet camera. We have some great pictures from there. Also the Ford Performance camera with Chase Briscoe. He's got the 360 camera. We have next to him the Leaf Filter cam, Ryan Truex. He's got the side panner. That'll be great tonight. The Sunoco cam with Christopher Bell, also having the side panner camera there. And then finally Toyota camera with Kyle Busch. He's got that front bumper cam. We'll see him giving people the business all night long with that camera. Should be fun.
Giving people the business. I like it. 2x2, they work their way around the high banks here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell up front.
And Rick, you heard a little bit in Justin Allgaier's response to Jeff's question. Guys, I don't think they really know what these things are going to drive like at the top of the racetrack, and that outside row is going to be there right away. I think that's where they want to be. Just a question mark on how the car is going to react.
I was here yesterday for practice. I didn't see hardly anyone get on the outside. Kyle Larson jumped up there, was much slower. The bottom of the racetrack was the way to go yesterday, and today you're going to see Kyle Busch. He's already picked the top, so they're going to want to go to the top as soon as they get going.
Saw it in the truck race last night. Whichever line you chose, you had to get a great jump on your competitor on that front row to get out front. Coming out of turn number 4, the Food City 300 is underway at Bristol. Logano jumps in behind the 18 of Kyle Busch.
I think you instantly see the advantage of driving a Cup car as well, not because of just experience, but practice today. Kyle Busch has been on the racetrack up high. He knows there's going to be grip up there.
Great run by Christopher Bell. Goes to the inside, tries to take second away from Logano.
Yeah, Joey ran the bottom in 1 and 2. That didn't work. Christopher Bell ran the top and had that run. See if he can make it work now that he's on the bottom. He's struggling trying to make this pass on the bottom, and he's got a lot of cars lining up behind Joey Logano. He doesn't clear. Oh, look there.
It's so close. If he could have just rolled up, it was inches away from being able to roll up in front of Joey Logano.
He's going to clear him here.
Yeah, he's in good shape.
makes the bottom work. Now the battle behind them for 5th side by side. Larson.
Ty Dillon in the middle there.
Yeah, uncharted waters for Larson to be running the bottom of a racetrack.
He wants to be on the top, but everybody's where he wants to be, so he's going to have to make the bottom work. And just like we saw with Christopher Bell, if he can just clear this one car, it's going to be a huge difference in how he's got to race.
I used to think Kyle Larson loved the top. I'm starting to learn Kyle Larson just loves where everybody isn't. It doesn't matter where it is on the racetrack.
Joe Logano's back to the bottom, trying to bring the battle to Christopher Bell for second.
So Larson cleared Sadler, and immediately to the top he went.
Larson's up top now. It's Ty Dillon in the 3 down low. Battle for second between Christopher Bell and Joey Logano. Now Logano's got the fender to the inside. Left quarter panel of Bell. Bell running high. Logano down low, and Bell clears him.
He knows right now that you see in his mirror, he can see Kyle Larson. So if he's going to make that bottom work, he had to make it when Larson wasn't there, because if he doesn't, he jumps on the bottom of Bell, then behind him, Larson's going to go to the top and put him on the bottom.
See these guys trying so many different lines in these first few laps, trying to figure out where their speed is.
That's what Larson wanted. He wanted Logano to go to the bottom to see if he could get a run on him. Now, Logano said, I'm not going to the bottom.
Slide job right here.
Slide job. That's it.
I wondered how long it was going to take you to say that.
Larson right up in front of the 22, but here comes the crossover. Logano goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He can't make it stick this time. Falls just in behind the 42.
This is really the racetrack that in asphalt cars, that slide job kind of started, with this top lane being the preferred lane. Really the only way to pass is just overdrive the corner, slide up in front of somebody.
And Jeff, actually what's interesting about the 42 car of Kyle Larson, and talking to his crew chief Mike Shipwood, I asked him, do you focus on having the car handle a certain way on the bottom so then he knows what he has up top? He said what's been interesting about this weekend is, for the first time ever, whatever the car does on the top, it's also doing on the bottom. We think we're very strong across all the lanes. Usually we have to kind of compromise, but for whatever reason, the 42 car is good everywhere. And I think we're seeing that right now, the ability to pass anywhere on this racetrack.
Took 9 laps for Kyle Busch to catch the back of the field, and now he's already in the middle of lap traffic. Everybody else is going to have to deal with it. Kyle Busch running the high line. He's going to run the bottom of the track. Wherever they're not, that's where he will go.
That's the tough part. You don't know where these guys are going to go. They're going to run the bottom. They're going to run the top. They're going to move out of the way, make it difficult.
And it gets harder as you get further up in the field. You'll start to get, when you get about 20th, 25th, they're racing themselves too. So right now the lap cars are kind of single file, really spread out. But the further to the front you get, the more that's not going to be the case.
More competitive those cars get.
Like this.
Great battle right here. Ryan Truex leads this pack. Hemrick right there. The 21 going to the bottom. Marty.
And Junior, you see on that battle on the right side of your screen with Daniel Hemrick, who qualified 11th today. And this is the frustration of Bristol, has been able to make no progress. In fact, he's gone back one spot. And what happens is you kind of get in a group and you start running their same speed. That's what they're talking about on the 21 radio. We're much faster than these guys that are in front of us right now. We just can't get around them. Nice battle for second shaping up there, Rick.
Continues between Bell and Larson. Bell still out front. Larson, though.
Look at Larson gain ground on the top. He's running about a foot higher than Bell there. These two guys right here, so much dirt experience. They're the guys that are going to figure this top out, be the quickest on the top. Be fun to watch them learn from each other as they're running.
Larson talked about his frustrations of at the end of the race not being able to finish because he's a little too aggressive, but you have to be very aggressive but perfect when you're up top, because if you get out of that groove, you guys have said, you can get right into the wall.
Well, you'll be running along thinking that you're high, thinking that you are running the top. Larson will go by, get in front of you and show you there's another foot. There's more speed. The higher you can run, even if it's a couple inches of speed.
And on the other side of the screen, you see Daniel Hemrick. He's just stuck on the bottom. If he could ever clear the 11 of Ryan Truex right here, he cleared him. Truex had a problem. Now he can jump to the top. Now Brandon Jones has got to try to clear him. Got a good run. Should be able to get in front of Truex.
Brandon Jones just drives up the racetrack. He checks all them guys up, but he takes the spot. Sort of a slide job itself. Marty.
Let's go to Dave.
Hey guys, remember the race here in April was a Dash for Cash race for the Xfinity Series, so there were no Cup drivers in the field right now. 4 of the top 5 are Cup Series drivers. The exception, this 20 car of Christopher Bell. I asked Jason Ratcliffe about that this morning, and he said, we love this challenge. We need this. We want to evaluate ourselves and our program against these best drivers as we get ready to try to win a championship.
Well, you're going up against the best when you race against Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott in the race today as well. Joey Logano running up there also. So a lot of firepower here in the Xfinity Series race at Bristol. Kyle Busch, the biggest firepower, the winningest driver ever in Xfinity Series history, out front by 2 seconds. Catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. You can get closer, alternate camera angles, driver stats, track information, anytime, anywhere. The NBC Sports app. Incredible battles all around the racetrack. Most of them have included the 42 of Kyle Larson, the 18 of Kyle Busch still out front. He continues to put cars a lap down. Right now, there are only 18 cars on the lead lap. Larson has been trying to get past cars all over the track, and he's done everything he can to try to almost thread the needle when those passes take place.
Listen, it's like there's a cushion at a dirt track. If he has to get off the cushion or get off the top of the racetrack to pass somebody, he slides right up in front of them. You don't see that consistently. Now he is, I'm going to call that on the bumper.
I would say
technically contact. Kyle Larson is working traffic here wonderfully here at Bristol. And
oh, hello.
Hey, I'm here. I'm back up to you. He's letting him know. Look at us, another shot to the 20 of Bell.
Well, all this started, they had a great battle, and Kyle Larson lost a couple spots. Joey Logano got by him when they caught that traffic right here. He was trying to work the outside, and there just wasn't enough room. You see the 22 on the bottom got by him, so Kyle had to go to work and go back and catch Joey.
It's just an approach. I swear Kyle Larson just sees the racetrack differently. Look at the bottom right. That's live action. The 20 cannot shake him, and Larson is right there. One slip. Oh, he starts to work the width of the exit there. Oh, my
And Junior, I think this is one of those times you almost have to have old school Bristol mentality. Maybe it's best to let him go. I mean, early in this race, maybe just let that guy go and then go back racing later.
Yeah, I think after a few more shots, though, you get almost frustrated here. I think he's going to let him go. Or,
slide job.
No, he's not going to get the slide job complete. After a few, one or two hits, it's kind of like, hey, let me buy. and then you get a few more hits in, you kind of start to get annoyed. Christopher Bell may be getting annoyed and not let him go.
And the next thing we see is
or
a
they
helmet
may
being
both
thrown.
be smiling. You never know. They both may be loving this.
Don't look now, but here
we
comes Ty Dillon in the 3. Logano's jumped back up in there. Ty Dillon right there. Again, this first stage, 85 laps. So about halfway through the first stage. It's been all Kyle Busch since the drop of the green flag. He's got over a 4-second lead over Bell. But once you have Bell, Larson, Logano, and Ty Dillon, you can throw a blanket over those 4.
But you can see right here, lap traffic. Joey Logano went to the bottom. Ty Dillon trying to get it by him on the outside. And look at the gap that's given Kyle Larson. 3 wide now. Working this lap traffic, Junior, is very difficult to do at this racetrack.
Yeah, I can't keep my eyes off the battle for second. Watching the 2 of the best really go at it. Christopher, the best in the Xfinity Series, one of the best drivers the series has, and Kyle Larson. These guys really respect each other, you know. It's awesome to see them racing each other so hard this early in the race.
I think, too, we heard Christopher Bell talk about he wants to go cup racing. He thinks he's ready. Well, this is a great opportunity to prove it, right? You race with Kyle Larson. If you can race with him on Friday's race, and you should be able to race with him on Saturday.
Well, guys, these two, as they battle for second, and Kyle Busch goes out the lead. If you look at behind these a little bit in the 6th position, that bright yellow 23 of Chase Elliott right there on the bottom of the racetrack, he has gained 9 spots since the start of the race, currently working inside the 12, a lap car at the moment. He's working his way up inside the top 5, or trying to get inside the top 5. He's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack time and time again.
And Steve, even though they didn't get to spend a lot of time running up high during practice, the crew chief on that 23 car, Chad Norris, took a gamble and made the setup conducive to running that top line. He didn't expect it to come in this quickly, though. Perhaps he had told me he hoped Chase would maintain track position and expected the car to come to life once he could move up top. And he's been moving since the green flag up to 6th, as he said.
Good thing he's been moving, Rick, because I was getting ready to say, as that battle continues, Kyle Busch has lapped up to 13th.
Larson's made the pass. So Larson has taken that 2nd spot away from Christopher Bell. Parker.
Well, guys, as you see him get into 2nd place, all is not well inside that 42 car, though, as we saw him beating the back bumper of Christopher Bell. Once he got down to the bottom lane, he came across the radio and said, everything is pegged. Temp running hot. Started freaking out and trying to find clean air, and now he's in the cleanest air he could find, getting in front of that 20 car.
You better hope that the air going through the grill is getting to the radiator. One thing he could do is maybe knock a little damage in the ductwork. Kyle Busch, the leader in heavy traffic.
Running that close to the bumper of the 20 car is just like taping off the grill. I mean, he literally just runs some qualifying laps there, and it's a no wonder that it ran the temps up. They maximize the tape as it is for these cars to run pretty much right on the edge of comfort for the engine guys. Marty.
And guys, we also saw a lot of trucks last night in the Truck Series race get a lot of debris on the grill, so that could be affecting Kyle Larson as well. Riding on board with Kyle Busch, who has led all 52 laps thus far. And I talked to his crew chief, Eric Phillips, earlier today, Steve, and he made an interesting point. He said, last year, we made a philosophy change here at Bristol. Obviously, they've been very successful. You see him running the top now. He said, we don't practice the top intentionally. I feel like it kind of throws off our direction for our car. So we only practice on the bottom, focus working on our car. Kyle's talented enough to figure out how the top's going to work in the race.
Well, I can't argue with that strategy. Currently a 5-second lead at a track where there's only 16-second laps. He has lapped all the way up to 13th. Only 12 cars on the lead lap with 31 to go here at Bristol in Stage 1.
Xfinity Series Racing from Bristol Motor Speedway. This telecast presented by Shell Rotella. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. Watch throughout the broadcast, select alternate camera angles. You never miss a lap with NASCAR Drive. NASCAR.com/drive. What a ride this is with Justin Allgaier. He's definitely on a drive. Right now, Allgaier running in the 6th position, and a lot of guys are starting to look in the mirror going, wait a second, is that race leader Kyle Busch behind me?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. He's flying, but it's not without danger. Look at Kyle Busch out of the groove in the wall in the middle of 1 and 2. No damage, I don't think, severe, but you see right here, he just jumps right there and gets out of the groove, and now it's just tire rubble, and he's just bouncing around and gets in the wall. I don't think any major damage,
When you talk about out of the groove, it's literally only about a half of a foot between the groove and the wall. So,
and he's the leader.
Yeah. I mean, he's pushing hard. He's running right on the, look at right there, right on the edge.
But he's still pushing it up there. You know, you would think, well, maybe come down just a little bit to be safe, but you can't. That's where the fast line is if you want to make lap time.
Got a little issue with it there.
Again. And again, he's into the wall.
He's got a tire down.
Tire down, race leader Kyle Busch into the wall.
Caution, caution.
Caution comes out. And a lot of damage to the right front.
Dominating this race. Now this.
Very uncharacteristic mistake of the 18 of Kyle Busch. You don't see him get out of the groove very often, and you have to wonder if that didn't damage that right front tire.
They're off turn 2, he hits the wall. I think his tire's down there.
Right. And so right there, he's in the wall again, and knew it was coming, and he's way slow, but he goes, accelerates again, and then gets in the wall. Didn't recognize he had a tire. Let's listen to the throttle. So you see throttle back up.
This is hell now, top.
Boom.
Marty.
And guys, from the initial contact, with the first contact with the wall, Kyle said there's rubber on top of the racetrack, and he said it literally pushed him into the wall. Once he got on that, like ice kind of pushed him into the wall. So that was the initial contact that started the flat tire that led to this accident for Kyle Busch. So now they're going to have to come down pit road and see if they can get this car fixed up. Not out of the game, though, guys.
Well, I don't know, Marty.
It looks broke.
Yeah, I don't know, Marty. It looks worse than a flat tire. Unfortunately, you from pit road can't see the right front, but we have the advantage out here on from the booth side. We can see the right front, and it looks turned to the right and tipped in a dramatic amount. That looks like way more damage than just a flat tire.
Suspension problems for the 18, and a lot of obviously right front damage to the 18 after slamming into the wall. He was the race leader by over 3.5 seconds. That's the gap that he had on Kyle Larson. And with the caution coming out, everyone bunching back up. The end of stage 1 will happen at lap 85, which is only 13 laps from now. As soon as pit road is open, which right now it's still closed.
Rick, I can't remember the last time we see Kyle made a mistake like this leading the race. I mean, obviously he doesn't mean to. Like Dale Jr. said, 6 inches, right? That's the difference between in the groove and out of groove. But, I mean, with a 5-second lead, it just surprised me to see him up there in the rubble.
6 inches is the difference between the groove and the fence.
Yeah.
You know, so any kind of a, small difference in your line, and you can't get in that wall a little easier. They definitely have moved the groove up higher in 1 and 2. And
but one of the things, it makes you wonder, though, Steve, to your point, maybe he had a tire going down. I mean, maybe he already had a problem happening, and that's what contributed to him getting out of the groove.
Yep.
Because he started talking about how different the track was, how slick it was. He said something pushed me out of the groove. It makes you wonder if he had some sort of a problem.
Yeah, the rubber on the track, like obviously the car's put the rubber down, you see the groove. It also builds up on the bottom of the splitter.
It's an interesting decision to see all these guys pit so close to the end of the stage.
Pit road is open, so we knew the 18 was going to come down there. Parker.
Well, guys, you see Kyle Larson assume the lead there from the 18 getting the wall. Pitting, they're going to do Ford Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. They're also going to pull some tape. As we mentioned, he was overheating. And as for changes, though, no changes on that 42 car. Very happy with it, Dave.
Christopher Bell gives up 3rd place. He'll take on 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Slight chassis adjustment and an air pressure adjustment, although his car was very, very close. And he was running up front, Marty.
Dave, Kyle Busch, who has led 70 laps to this point of the 73 so far, getting to his pit stall finally. You see all that damage on the right side. They pull that right front tire off, checking the suspension, and they're giving a thumbs up to Eric Phillips. So they're going to pull this sheet metal away, put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on, and see where they go, Kelly.
And Joey Logano in the 22 car saying that he was a little bit free firing off, but it would tighten up as he goes, a little bit free on entry and exit, just tight across the middle. They made an air pressure adjustment for Goodyear tires.
And the race off pit road, Larson grabs the top spot. Logano gains 2. The guy who led 70 laps at Bristol and has won 9 times before, unstrapping the helmet and climbing out. The car is broke. He will not be able to continue. So Kyle Busch, his race is over after leading 70 laps.
Yeah, and Rick, really not the year in the Xfinity Series we're accustomed to seeing from him. He only won 1 race this year. We used to see him win a lot more. Didn't run as many, but I would have to say that that's not a typical Kyle Busch year.
And obviously frustrated as he was climbing out of the car. I think one of the officials was telling him where he needed to head to.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to.
He's probably got to go to the infield care center, actually, because once you get out of the car, they probably mandatory make you go to the infield care center. And now it's Cole Custer and Tyler Reddick who make up row number 1. Cole Custer, race leader, has chosen the outside line for this restart.
They did not pit on this restart, on this caution rather.
Kyle Larson did in the 42, and he's trying to get by as Custer gets into the wall coming off of turn 2. Kyle Larson all over the back bumper, now dives to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by Custer. Larson taking the top spot away. Here comes Ty Dillon in the 3.
Three wide down here into turn 3. Algar on the bottom, they go thin out to 2 wide. It's tough on that bottom when that top so good. And there's so many guys lined up on that outside line. When you do clear the guy, oh, look out.
Like right there, Hemrick gets into the back of Brandon Jones. Jones into the wall.
Hang on here.
Jones thought he was clear up on off the turn 2, but he wasn't.
And 3 to go for this stage end, so he has to just hope he didn't hurt a tire to get to the end of the stage. We saw what just happened to Kyle Busch.
That was
quick
some
2
hard
laps
contact.
here.
That's some hard contact with the right front.
Damage to the 21, damage to the 19. Less than 2 laps to go at Bristol in stage 1.
You can almost, on that situation, hear the spotter saying clear, 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 without letting you know that the run is coming from behind.
Coming 3 to go. Easy, get mid, clear up. Keep digging.
Larson out front, going down the backstretch for the final time in stage 1. Has a pretty good sized gap over second place Ty Dillon. Out of turn 4, Kyle Larson wins stage 1. Ty Dillon, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Cole Custer grabbing 6 points, finishing 5th. Matt Tiff, Tyler Reddick, Justin Allgaier, Elliott Sadler. And hanging on to 10th is Daniel Hemrick after that little bit of contact with Brandon Jones. Larson wins the first stage here at Thunder Valley. And getting ready for pit stops after stage 1. Now, if you guys came to pit road after the caution came out for Kyle Busch getting into the wall, so if you guys were on pit road, including Kyle Larson, who won stage 1, Ty Dillon was also on pit road, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, those guys were on pit road, but once again, we'll see them make their way back down on pit road. Parker.
As Cole Custer finished 5th in that stage, they're going to do Ford Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel in the 00. He was fighting loose on entry and actually also through the center. It's something they fought all weekend on this 00 car, uncharacteristically from daytime to nighttime. So just continue to fight that and hopefully tighten that car up.
Saw Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick also on pit road in the 9. Kelly.
As you said, it's Cole Custer in that 9 car making his way down pit road. He said he just needs to be a little bit tighter. He's having trouble getting back to the gas like he wants to. So you see that wrench going in the left rear window. They're going to make a chassis adjustment while giving him 4 fresh Goodyear tires and filling them with Sunoco fuel, Marty.
And Kelly, Kyle Busch has come out of the infield care center, and obviously not the end of the night. You wonder what happened with the initial contact with the wall, Kyle?
Just rubber on top of rubber, the rubber buildup that was happening. I just got in the corner a little too hot and just got up into the fence a little bit. And then, I don't know, 2-3 laps later, it blew out.
And for these guys, it was actually a broken A-arm that had them in the evening from there.
Broken A-arm for the 18 team puts him into the wall and then out of the race.
welcome back to NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I am hanging out in the Allison grandstands, and I was trying to see if I could figure out if any fans had not come to a race here before, and I saw the telltale sign from these two brothers and all their kids because everyone was holding their ears. They tried the crossover move, but finally he went and bought everybody earplugs. The kids are a little sad. They were all pulling for Kyle Busch. But guys, it's a great party over here. A lot of Kyle Busch fans. Sadly, they were like, oh, you were racing #1 and now you're going home. I think that's what they were saying. It was hard to tell from up here, Dale.
Hey, can you go check out the party deck in the infield? That looks like a lot of fun.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I may go over there.
If you're out here walking around, check things out.
I'm not sure you'll hear from me again if I do go.
This is where I want you to go, right here.
You got it.
If you don't mind, bring us something from down there, please.
And if you don't love that one, there's a party deck in 1 and 2.
That's
you can have
right.
you got 3 and 4 or 1 and 2. Multiple party decks.
Dang. I didn't see that one in
Oh yeah,
turn 1 and 2. That's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, built right in the stands.
Wow.
They had a front row seat for the first Kyle Busch incident.
How long has that been here?
About 5 years?
About 5 years.
The 1 and 1 and 2? Oh,
yeah.
Apparently, when you drive down in
when
there
you're
in
a race car driver, you don't get to see these things.
You focus.
It's over the wall. You don't want to see over the wall. Now it's Kyle Larson, Ty Dillon making up row 1. And we'll see how well Kyle Larson can manage that high line. He's going to start up there. Logano's chasing him on the high line, trying to take second away from Ty Dillon. And here comes Justin Allgaier as well.
Yeah, Logano was thinking, man, I'm going to turn down, try to get underneath that 42. Almost give up the spot to the 7, give up the preferred line to the 7. Of Allgaier, here's Allgaier trying to see what he can do. Drives in a little shallow. It's going to cost him a little one-corner exit.
They've got a little gap behind them to Daniel Hemrick, about a car length and a half.
You almost have to wonder, you know, Hemrick and Brandon Jones got together. There doesn't appear to be any damage on the 21 car, but they hit pretty hard.
Bobble there.
Uncontrolled tire for the 19 of Brandon Jones, so he had a penalty on pit road.
Hemrick's got some really substantial damage to that left front. Look at that.
Yeah,
pushed in pretty dang good.
That big hole.
Yeah.
That big hole's letting the air pressure go through the nose instead of pushing down
close
on the
to
nose.
that left front tire. Now
It's Bristol, man. It's all right.
That's a good-looking race car for Bristol.
That's right.
Just to be clear, Rick, that's the difference between the crew chief and the driver.
Yeah.
They're thinking it looks okay. I'm thinking that's like 40, 50 pounds of downforce gone. So now when you tell me it's tight, I may not say it, but there's going to be a full eye roll.
Steve, he can't see it.
It's okay. I can tell you Daniel Hemrick thinks nothing is wrong with that race car. They said the damage on the left front very minimal. They're not worried about it. And it really depends on what line you start on here at Bristol. They had the right one this time. Jumped up to 4th right here for the 21 car, Daniel Hemrick.
Love it. And to his defense, I don't think he had any fault in the hole in the fender. He was just in his lane and had a little contact. We see the 3 continue to try to work the bottom. Can't find a hole to move up the racetrack yet.
18 cars on the lead lap, and that's because Kyle Busch had set such a blistering pace in stage 1. Now in stage 2 with 70 laps to go. We'll see what Kyle Larson can do as the race leader.
And Ty Dillon, you know, he's on the bottom. Well, there is a line of cars on the outside lane. If he cannot find his way to the top, he could lose 4 or 5 spots right here. See, Elliott Sadler's going to try to fill that hole behind Chase Elliott. Ty's just got to make this bottom work, trying to squeeze in right there. He got in.
That gives Christopher Bell the opportunity to dive to the bottom, and he takes it. Now he's going to try to go down there and make that bottom work. See if he can gain a spot or two because of how they had to check up, how Elliott Sadler had to check up for that move that Ty Dillon made. Ty Dillon was stuck in the bottom since his restart. Here's Chase Elliott making a move on Cole Custer. He'll do a little bit of a slide job there, take that position.
What's amazing to me, guys, is that we're sitting here looking at the side view from Christopher Bell, and these cars are, around goes the 0-1 and the 76.
Right in front of the leaders. The leaders are coming through here.
Vinnie Miller in the 0-1 and Spencer Boyd in the 76 have an issue. I was going to say they're going around this racetrack at nearly 120 miles an hour around this half-mile track. And this is what happened to bring out the caution. A little contact there.
Wow. It's kind of the same thing we saw on the back straightaway with the 19 and Hemrick.
I think I thought the.
But maybe that.
Yeah, I
there's a little disagreement there. That was just crazy. Man, the 76.
That's Bristol. I mean, see a lot of wrecking here, Junior.
Boy, he just
just misjudged it a little bit.
Yeah,
They get loose coming off turn 4 and, you know, end up just trying to get off the wall and end up getting into somebody. We've seen a lot of wrecks here off of 4, especially just like that.
So Vinnie Miller in the 0-1 and Spencer Boyd in the 76 bring out caution 3. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the credit card perfect for everyday purchases. Toyota, let's go places. And by Shell Rotella, the engine oil that works as hard as you. You're watching Xfinity Series racing from Bristol. It's the Food City 300 under the third caution of the night. And still 63 laps to go in stage 2. Just under 200 laps remaining in the race. Christopher Bell had been battling up there in the top 5, dropped out to 6th now. Parker.
Well, guys, under the last caution, there was some odd radio traffic between the 42 of Kyle Larson and his crew. And take a listen to what he had to say here, or couldn't say.
As long as you can hear us, everything will be fine.
And that is the issue. They can't hear him. They were able to find a couple times where they could hear each other, where he was able to switch radios, then switch channels, then turn off his air conditioner. They went through all different things and then basically said, okay, we've given up, we can't hear you. And now another thing to remember, on the last pit stop, he asked for no changes. He said the car was perfect. So one thing to listen to here is if he can't tell them what he needs in that car, they won't have any idea of what the trend was even at the beginning of this race. So things could go awry if the track really changes a lot for the 42.
It's really frustrating as a driver not being able to communicate to your team. But at least there is one-way communication. They'll either come up with some hand signals or whatever to do what they need to do to understand what they need to from Kyle. And the car is actually pretty good. So hopefully the car's, you know, handling well all night long and there's not a lot of adjustments needed. But that is, as a driver, you know, that ramps up the anxiety a little bit, not being able to communicate like you want. Having that freedom, you take it for granted until it's not there anymore.
I have a feeling the crew chiefs like it when they can't hear us.
Yeah. Not Matt.
What's
Mike
the old school? The door is tight, the roof's loose.
Yeah.
So you come down the front stretch, hand out the window, beating on the door if you're tight, the roof if you're loose.
I was the other way around. Top tight. Because there's 2 T's.
Well,
top tight.
Well, let me just tell you that miscommunication between you and I would be bad for your adjustment.
Wouldn't go so well.
And you wouldn't have to hear me complain about it, so it'd work out.
No.
Kelly.
Joey Logano running in that second spot. They felt like the 7 of Justin Allgaier was catching him at points, so he had a conversation with TJ Major about the line Justin Allgaier's running.
Pulling down board of me. Same line on entry, but he was carrying less speed at the 40% mark and letting it turn just a little bit earlier and running about a half car length lower than you. The whole corner was just a little bit lower than you after the 40% mark.
So in essence, that part TJ's telling Joey that the 7 was running more at like 8/10 speed than 10/10 speed at points, which was helping him around the track.
yeah, that indication of the 4/10 mark, that's essentially just before the center of the corner. So the spotter's trying to break that corner down into tenths of a section, so to really tell Joey where that was, and that's how much information these drivers can use, Kelly.
Sorry, and we saw the 19 there, Brandon Jones. He took the opportunity to come down pit road. Remember, we saw that contact between him and the 21. Well, he had a little bit of damage and thought the toe got knocked out of the front. I think they took this opportunity to do a little more work, Dave.
Hey guys, is Bristol a place where you could have a car that you really, really don't feel good about and you get really good lap times anyway? Drivers, what do you think? Bristol, that kind of place?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere, but yes, for sure, in a short track.
So that is Allgaier's situation. He said earlier, I'm not sure if the word frustrating even begins to describe this race. He said it was bad in practice. We've got something going on. He's running third.
Yeah, even the guy leading the race has got something he would like improved about his car. Nobody is ever really completely satisfied. You're always trying to improve your car, make your car faster if you lead the race, because you know everybody behind you is doing the same thing. Sometimes you will have cars that are fast, don't drive well.
And so they're still heading around the racetrack. Now, a lot of times what ends up happening here, and we saw this earlier, they have to be in order before they'll open pit road so that people can come to pit road in the position that they're supposed to be in. So pit road now is open. They are feeling that everyone is in the proper order on the racetrack, but a lot of times you drivers fight for every single position, even when maybe it's not deserved. You'll run beside another guy thinking that you got that spot, but then up above they'll have to tell you different. Marty.
Hey Rick, the drivers beside you will tell you, warm humid night in Bristol. You want a little AC inside the car. Daniel Hemrick came on the radio under this caution and said, I don't know what happened, but in the middle of all this chaos, I've lost my helmet hose, which means he has no AC. Danny Stockman said, did you find it? He said, nah, I'll be all good for the rest of the night.
Better him than me. You know, with those closed helmets, Junior, it's just crazy how hot it gets. And without that helmet hose, yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, so you may as well just laugh it off and tough it out. But it is not fun without that helmet hose.
We talked about these drivers fighting for positions and arguing positions on the racetrack. When the restarts are so line sensitive, guys in the back will refuse to start on the inside or be an odd number, because you know you're going to lose positions, especially third row, fourth row, fifth row. You're going to lose spots on this restart getting on that inside. So
all right, we're going to give you a perspective from the Colossus. That's the big screen in the middle of the stadium here, right in the middle of Bristol.
Well, it's a good start by the inside line. This is the first time they've had a decent start. Logano,
three wide for the lead. Here comes Allgaier.
Wow. I'm surprised that Logano lifted so hard there.
Larson.
We've seen Allgaier on the restarts week after week after week, especially last week. Mid-Ohio, take advantage of all, those restarts to gain positions, be aggressive.
Larson up front, Allgaier running second, Hemrick third. Then the 20 of Christopher Bell is fourth. They've spread out a bit now, side-by-side racing. Chase Elliott in the 23 on the inside of Ty Dillon.
Logano, who restarted on the inside of the front row back in fifth. Here's Chase Elliott working that bottom. It's a great car. He's been moving up all night. It's hard as you get toward the front, especially these guys have figured out this outside line. It's even harder to make the pass without moving them out of the way somehow.
And look who's crept in behind him. Cole Custer, he was the first to get ready to go a lap down before that caution with Kyle Busch, and here he is battling for eighth.
Everybody running the top now. All the way back outside the top 10. Whole field strung around the top of the racetrack.
And once again, a freight train building up high as they go down the front stretch and back stretch. There is a little side-by-side racing right here between Bell and Hemrick.
Bell's going to make the position here. He's going to clear him easily. So that bottom groove still is an option if you come up on a car, and you can use that bottom to get by.
Larson, Allgaier, Bell, Hemrick, Logano, Ty Dillon, Chase Elliott, Cole Custer, Matt Tipp, and Elliott Sadler, the top 10. And now you see the dark groove up high around this racetrack, and everyone trying to find that rubber and grip here at Bristol.
Larson's running right on the edge of it. A lot of these guys are maybe, 2, 3, even 4 feet lower. And I just got to feel like that Larson's line is going to produce more speed.
Logano using the bottom of the track easily by Hemrick.
I think Hemrick's had a little trouble with that damage, Steve. I think you're right about it taking a little bit of the aerodynamics off the nose, especially the particularly sensitive area, the left front fender.
And you're going to feel that more on older tires. Those brand new tires, maybe they overcame the grip, but right there you see the back wiggle. But that could be a case of the front not working, right? You get some front wheel in it, and then the front kind of catches, and you see him continue to battle as the 3 goes by. Now the 23 of Chase Elliott's going to look to the bottom. One more set of corners, he's going to try to clear him. Surely that bottom is harder on the tires as you try to work off the corner right here.
Chase Elliott can't clear the 21 of Hemrick yet. He's going to keep working the bottom. He'll get in front of him now, slide right in front of him. It is very loud down in the middle of Thunder Valley, isn't it, Marty?
It is very loud, and I am in the exit of turn 4, and this would be on top of our Peacock pit box, and you can hear how loud it is. Steve, I don't know how you as a crew chief communicating with your crew on top of the box, and I'm holding my mic as close as I can, but I'm going to move it just a couple of inches away to show you how loud it is. If I do this, I can't hear me at all. That's only like 2 inches, so obviously very loud. Can't even hear me when my mic is 2 inches away. I'm sure this pit stall, and Austin Cindric's pit is right here, by the way. I'm sure these pit stalls on the exit of turn 4, very difficult, and it shows, Steve, how tough it is as a crew chief to communicate with your driver when you're sitting here on top of a pit box.
Sorry, we must have had some technical difficulty. I couldn't hear Marty at all there, so maybe his microphone wasn't working.
Well, so we would set it up with the engineer where we would actually have little keyboards and like a chat in a window that was open, but sticky notes. That was the easiest way. The tire guy would come up, you'd write on the sticky note, hand it down to him. It was actually so loud that when I was Dale's crew chief, I would use the earbud under my headset, in my ear, that was plugged directly into his radio with all the other voices in my headset, NASCAR, scanner. That was the only way I could make sure I always heard my drivers. I had to have an earbud actually underneath my headset.
140 decibel is what has been recorded here inside of Bristol Motor Speedway. That is the equivalent of a jet engine at about 100 feet.
See, Rick, now you know why. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't hear you sometimes. A lot of years.
Totally understand.
What?
Exactly. Burton knows all too well also. Larson out front, Christopher Bell running second. Under caution once again, Xfinity Series Racing from Bristol. This telecast presented by Shell Rotella. And you see the damage to the front end of the 60. So Chase Briscoe.
Let's see how it happened here. Coming off of turn 4. On the inside of Chastain. Just gets in the door of the Chastain, and you know, we see that over and over here, Jeff.
Here more than anywhere else, you see a guy's right front fender hit a guy in the door, and it just turns you around, getting in the corner on corner exit, more at this racetrack than any other racetrack we've seen.
90% of the time, you're going to hit something. That's pretty much going to end his race. He stood in the gas, which drives the car down the racetrack into the inside wall a little sooner. It's hard to avoid hitting the walls in that situation, but throttling up is going to put you into the inside wall a little quicker there.
And so they're going to go to work on the 60. They'll be on the damaged vehicle.
I think it's hard for the drivers to drive the 60 car. They have, you know, so many drivers that drive it. I think it's hard for them to get into a rhythm.
Unfortunate for Briscoe, but a big break for the 21 of Hemrick guys. We've been watching that damage, that questionable whether it was an issue or not, but it seemed like it has grown. I mean, that hole there wasn't quite that big. It looks like it's finally blown in and broken that composite body, where that's definitely something they're going to want to repair. We even saw a little bit of smoke out of that tire a few laps.
Steve, I mentioned the damaged vehicle clock that the 60's on. Give us kind of the breakdown of what they can do there and how much time they have.
So basically, we have 6 minutes, Rick, and if you have any penalties on pit road, there are time penalties, 15 or 30 seconds, depending on what the penalty is. If you're in any sort of incident, it's hard to define, but basically, any damage that's happened, whether you hit another car, hit the wall, NASCAR put you on the DVP. If you go behind the wall, your day's over. If you spend more than 6 minutes on pit road, this entire caution, or until you go back to minimum speed, your day is also over. So your repair kind of has to change, right? Right now, they're not trying to fix everything. Maybe just get it all cut away so you could go out, make minimum speed, continue to work on it throughout the night.
And Steve, with Daniel Hemrick, he's not on the damage because he met minimum speed after the contact, so he has no time limit he has to deal with.
Yeah, it's a good policy. Listen, no one really comes to watch wrecked race cars go around the racetrack, and the idea is 6 minutes is a long time. If you have more than 6 minutes, then you know your day's over. You also can't add pieces anymore. You used to be able to add parts, and eventually those are the parts that would blow off onto the racetrack and affect other people's day. So I expect to see the 21 pit here, but no, pit road's open.
Yeah, stayed out.
I don't know if I completely buy into that one. Man, that thing was rubbing a few times. I mean, I'm not sure they can make it a lot better, but worried about rubbing a tire. Only 25 to go until the stage. I would think now's the time you would fix it.
And they're inside of the fuel window.
Yeah.
For the end of the race, 155 laps to go. They can go over 165 laps.
That's a tough decision for crew chiefs. You have it time and time again. Dave, we see the one on pit road.
Yep, he's given up 10th position, Steve, for tires, fuel, and an adjustment. Really wasn't happy with his race car. It was tight rolling to the center and free off. That's been the case most of the night for Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler will come off of pit road. Kyle Larson still up front at Bristol. Points leader Scott Dixon and the Verizon IndyCar Series will return to action this weekend at Pocono Raceway. That race coverage is live Sunday on NBCSN at 2 p.m. Eastern. Scott Dixon was on NASCAR America on Thursday. Very entertaining.
Yeah, Rick, the 60 of Chase Briscoe, their night's done. Could not get the car fixed in time. See him out of the car.
Fields lined up for a double file restart. Rolling into turn 3, waiting on that pace car to drop off. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson is the control car on the outside.
See, this time Logano's on the outside. The last restart he was on the bottom and gave up a bunch of spots. Allgaier again driving through the middle.
He tried to go through the center to get around the outside of Christopher Bell, but Christopher Bell had a great corner. He's holding speed with Larson.
Oh, whoa, that's close. That's pushing it.
It is. I'd say Logano cut him a break there.
Yeah, Logano will remember that. He'll expect a break back, or the next time there'll be no lift.
Get one break, maybe. Christopher Bell really putting the pressure on Larson here. Very surprising. We haven't seen anybody had any speed really for Larson up to this point, but Christopher Bell's there, running a little bit lower line, making that work. Larson fighting for grip. Doesn't have the lateral grip, the rear grip that he had before maybe. Waiting on his car to come in. You can see him getting the throttle there and make a little time.
That's what Bell wants to do. He wants to get as close as he can to him because, you know, even though it's Bristol half mile, still air can make a difference if he can get to that left rear quarter panel, try to pull a little air off that spoiler and try to get him loose. And Bell really doesn't have much choice. You almost have to run a little lower than the guy in front of you.
That or just a little higher, and if
yeah,
Larson's right up on the fence, you can't do that.
That wouldn't be good.
But you can see the difference with Larson running a little higher. He right there, that little bit of a gain in the center of the corner is what running that little bit higher line helps.
And the exit, watch what happens on the exit. So right there he gets a little speed, but right here it helps him accelerate. See him gain gap down the straights. That's just not pinching the car off on corner exit.
Now that bottom line, that lower line does work. I think Kevin Harvick drives a little shallow on entry, and he really makes that work well. He sets his car up to do a lot of turning in the center of the corner, and he doesn't give up this time on exit. But Christopher Bell sees this. He may make some adjustments as he sees himself losing time to Larson.
And the other side of that, too, you have to remember that, you know, we saw Kyle Busch up there where Larson is and actually hit the wall, jumped over the rubber and got into the wall. So
is it worth the risk?
Exactly. With, you know, lap 158, just past halfway, is it worth the risk at this point?
That's a good point. I mean, Larson's a guy that has nothing to lose. He can put that thing right on the edge all night long. Christopher Bell's racing for points, racing for playoff points. Can't afford to put his car in the fence early and give up the opportunity to get those points later on.
I mean, one little mistake by 6 inches with Larson, and he's in the wall. He does the same thing that Kyle Busch did, and right in front of him, right in front of him.
Middle.
Benny Miller had an accident earlier tonight.
We talked about that at the start. You know, you could be leading this race doing nothing wrong, and something happens in front of you.
Yeah, that's great wreck avoidance by the drivers. Heads up from the spotters. Keep them out of trouble there, because that was definitely right in front of those guys.
So now 10 to go at the end of this stage.
Let's see how Vinny got turned around. He's all by himself.
And look at the leaders right here. They're kind of committed to running the top. They had to get really slowed down to look right here. Caution, caution. God, it happens quick. Good job. Look at this view.
Back it down. Get middle.
That's the thing. At most racetracks, being out front's the safest place to be, but at a place like Bristol, even the leaders are at risk all night long to get swept up in an accident.
So, Steve, what are these guys going to do right here with 9 to go?
Well, I think you're going to see a few guys at the front stay out for points, but most of the field, I believe, is going to be on pit road, get that set of tires before the end of the stage. You see all guys on the racetrack for points, but pit road is getting busy.
Christopher Bell pits from second position. He will take on 4 Goodyear tires in Sunoco fuel. Told his crew chief, I just need a quarter number of turn in the center of the corner. And also, he feels like he's better than Kyle Larson because Larson's using a lot of racetrack. Confident he gets a final adjustment on the 20.
And Dave, expect these guys to stay out, obviously, when the stage comes in a moment. Only 9 laps left here in stage number 2. Daniel Hemrick's team not too worried about that left front damage that we have been talking about. Said he's too free on exit. They're going to pull that away and make a track bar adjustment for a loose car, Kelly.
The 3 car of Ty Dillon also in. He said he was really starting to gain grip, and as a result, that 3 car was just getting a little bit tighter and tighter. He's been using the brake fan to help. 4 tires in Sunoco fuel, and you see the 22 there. Joey Logano was a little bit tight through the center and loose off, but not bad on the 22.
And so a few guys have taken the opportunity to be on pit road and take fuel. Now they would be inside their fuel window if they want to stay out for the remainder of this race. They can go the remainder of this race without having to come back down on pit road for fuel. But I look at the guy out front, Kyle Larson. He's finished second 3 times at this racetrack, and he's never won. So the guy he finished second to, do you know who won those races?
Well, I think he's in his motorhome.
He is.
Yeah,
he's watching this broadcast right now, and he doesn't like that at all.
Yeah, Kyle Busch has definitely seemed to have his number here at Bristol, always finding a way to beat him in those closing laps, whether it's a restart or whatever it may be. Now with Kyle Busch out, Kyle Larson has to be the favorite. But this is Bristol. Anything can happen. Right. We saw how narrowly they had to avoid that last incident with the 0-1. So nothing is guaranteed with still just under half the race left to go. We're closing on the end of stage 2. You mentioned a little strategy. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly Larson can get by the guys that chose to stay out.
Things happen so quickly here, Jeff Jr. We have seen some incredible things out of these drivers. They're running right up against the wall, and just inches, you say, could make the difference between winning this race and being wrecked out.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised by how the strategy just changed. We saw Larson stay out, Christopher Bell come down pit road. Christopher had a great opportunity just a few laps ago to be behind Larson and understand exactly what else he needs from his car, what kind of adjustments he needs from his car to make it a little bit better. We thought these guys were going to have to contend against Kyle Busch tonight. Well, Kyle's out of the race, and now it's Kyle Larson that Christopher Bell will have to beat.
And so Larson's got 1 of 2 things coming. He's either got new tires coming from behind, or he's going to have to pit and get behind those new tires. So one way or another, this is going to get really interesting.
Yeah, Joey Logano, he's got to go to the back. He had an uncontrolled tire penalty, so that's more drama for that team.
And getting ready for the restart, laps winding down. There will be 5 laps of racing to go to end stage 2. On the outside, the 42, Kyle Larson. On the inside, Justin Allgaier in the 7. Allgaier using that inside line, trying to get by the 42.
This is the time we've seen that Larson's not quite as good on restarts. Once they go for a little while, Larson gets better. So if you're going to take the fight to him, you better do it now.
Allgaier's fighting for a regular season championship, too. That's more playoffs. He and Christopher Bell fighting right now, 1 and 2 on the points.
Great battle here behind these guys. Chase Elliott in 3rd. Ryan Truex, Elliott Sadler, Reddick, Brandon Jones with a good, nice recovery. Up in the 7th position.
Christopher Bell on those tires trying to get himself back up there.
There you see the 5 and net. He's battling, trying to make his way into that playoffs. An opportunity to get some points here.
Less than 2 laps coming up on the white flag for stage 2. Kyle Larson staying right up against the wall. Justin Allgaier running that low line.
That low line seems to work real nice in 1 and 2. Does not work as well in 3 and 4.
Out of turn 4, Kyle Larson wins stage 2. Bell able to come off of pit road and gain some points to end stage 2, finishing in the top 10. But Kyle Larson winning that stage and now sweeping stage 1 and 2. Kyle Larson will be challenging once again the Cup regulars tomorrow under the lights at Bristol. Tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern. It all gets underway on NBCSN. Last time Larson swept both stages was in his last win at Daytona.
Well, the issue he's going to have now, you heard Jeff Burton mention it, and I mentioned that he's going to have to pass those cars with tires, because now the last time Kyle Larson was on pit road at lap 74, he doesn't have enough fuel. You talk about the guys that can make it to the finish. This 42 car is definitely not one of them, and it's not only him. About the top 10 cars stayed out, so I expect to see 6, 8, 10 cars come to pit road right here. So cars like the 20 of Bell, Ty Dillon in the 3, Matt Tifft in the 2, Daniel Hemrick in the 21, who were just on pit road. They're going to stay on the racetrack and get that track position with now only 4 green flag laps on those tires.
But a long ways to go till the end of this race. 128 laps, 127 when they cross the start-finish line. And as we mentioned, race leader Kyle Larson coming to pit road. Parker.
And guys, his crew chief Mike Shipley told him to start thinking about what he needs to drive through traffic, as they'll have to do that in this run. They'll do Ford Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. He also came across radio and told his crew chief Mike, I don't know what I need to be better on the starts and restarts. Dave?
Second place, Justin Allgaier hits pit road. He said it's all center. So the adjustments being made on the 7 car all have to do with giving Justin Allgaier the chance to turn the car better through the center of the corner.
Some stage points for Michael Annett, Dave, and a nice rally for this Travis Mack-led race team. Started 40th after a spin in qualifying. A little contact there. Car's been too free on this run. Going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Kelly.
An accidental strategy call for the 23 car. It sounds like the team wanted him to pit under that last caution, but his spotter didn't hear that pit road was open, so he missed the opportunity. Chase says the car's not bad. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel.
And Larson able to edge Chase Elliott out and pit out, and Ryan Sieg grabs a couple spots. Under 125 laps to go in the Xfinity Series race from Bristol. This telecast presented by Shell Rotella. Out front, it's going to be Elliott Sadler. A lot of people will ask, how did he get up front?
Well, Rick, a couple cautions before the end of a stage always gives the crew chiefs decision time, and so you basically have Elliott Sadler, Tyler Reddick, 2 Junior Motorsports cars coming at lap 146. They're going to work that fuel and try to make this their last pit stop. That's how they got track position. You saw a whole bunch come at lap 162. It was right before the end of the stage. So that basically is how you set the top 10. Right outside the top 10, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, all of the guys we have seen at the front, they came at 173. To make this even more complicated, we're supposed to run 300 laps, Rick, but guess what?
We're supposed to run.
Oh, but there we are, and you see that cell kind of brewing. Guys, every time I see rain brew and a night race, I expect the intensity to get turned way up.
And remember, lightning bad.
Lightning bad, yes.
Lightning bad. All right, it's Elliott Sadler and Tyler Reddick making up row one as we get ready to start the final stage at Bristol. Christopher Bell has made his way up and now challenging for the lead. Elliott Sadler will try to hold him off. Bell running right at the bottom of the racetrack. Sadler up high.
We got a car in the fence on the back straightaway. Cole Custer hard in the wall.
He still goes. He's still going. You see him up high there, right behind Brandon Jones.
Still
more contact.
Trying to figure this out, man. There was a lot of contact on the back straightaway.
Elliott Sadler able to hold off that challenge by Christopher Bell while this mayhem is happening behind them. Joey Logano in the 22 had a pit road violation, so he's battling back. He's up to 12.
Let's take a look at what happened with Cole on the back straightaway. The 19. Jones goes up in the corner, just loses the front off the corner, stays in the throttle, gets in the quarter panel. Hard contact with not only the wall, but the left rear tire of the 00.
And they're running 5th and 6th, and you have to worry about that left rear tire. We've seen so many times the quarter panel get moved in on a left rear tire, and in a few laps it'll blow out. Way against the wall.
Back up front, battle for the lead. Elliott Sadler still holds it. Christopher Bell has a little bit more speed, a little more car here. Still trying him on the bottom.
It almost looked like Elliott got the wall right there, did he? The car shook off the corner.
Might have caught the fence just a little bit.
You see how hard it is to make that pass. Elliott Sadler's fighting hard. Bell's got a quicker car, but Elliott's got the preferred lane.
Closing in on this is Matt Tiff. The 9 car battling with Hemrick. Reddick, he was in the fence off of turn 2 the lap before.
Well, these guys are trying to go as best they can because look who's coming. The 42 of Kyle Larson. Oh, it's the 21 with a big slide off turn 4.
Bell did get Elliott Sadler, so now Christopher Bell out in front.
That moves Larson up to 5th, restarted 11th.
Larson methodically
up to 4th.
Yes, going one position at a time. He takes that spot away from the 9 of Tyler Reddick. He is up to 4th. Now he'll set his sights on Matt Tiff.
Christopher Bell, he's taking the lead from Elliott Sadler up front.
But Chase Elliott right in front of Tyler Reddick.
You guys, hey Jeff, these guys are like kind of defining what's an appropriate slide job. I mean, the 42 makes it look simple. The 23 right there, though, he needed a little help from the 9 to make that work.
You said it, rain. You know, they're hearing it. This rain's close. You got to go, and you've seen the intensity level pick up.
Allgaier fighting his way, trying to get back up toward the front. He's running 8th. Ty Dillon goes by in the 3. Tyler Reddick in the outside in the 9 as we ride on the helmet cam of Justin Allgaier. He's using the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by.
3 wide here. Ty Dillon gave him a little bit of a break there and lifted to make sure they didn't wreck. That would have been a wreck. These guys just can't commit to make that slide job. Just driving in the corner and driving up in front of the 9 of Reddick to get that, get clear and make that pass, forcing Reddick to lift. That's what you have to do almost in this situation. You're just going to sit there on the inside fighting for that position.
Allgaier's got to get far enough to the 9, but he got so loose off of 4 right there, he wasn't able to carry that momentum and get next to him. But if you ever enter the corner.
And right here, if he can just drive in there.
Still not quite there. Going to try to use the slower cars.
Catching lap traffic.
3 wide at Bristol.
Lap traffic sometimes gives you the opportunity to take advantage of guys. There you see Logano driving up into this conversation. He's coming back from that penalty.
Allgaier's got him now. He's got it far enough on him. He can carry that speed into the corner, roll the center. Now he should be able to get him off, but he's not. Reddick's fighting back, but he's going to kind of clear himself to get to the 74 car and get on the outside of him.
You know, Reddick's struggling in that outside line. You just have to take advantage of guys like that when you get in that position that Allgaier was in.
And now the battle, you can see Joey Logano and Ty Dillon. The battle is to the 9 car, really. If Joey can get past the 9 car, he's going to be in great shape. If he can't, then the 21 and Hemrick might get by him. Just so hard to make that middle work, the bottom work. You can drive in on corner entry and you get a good run, then you roll through the middle, but it's just hard to carry the speed on exit the guys in the top can carry.
While we're watching this battle, Kyle Larson has drove all the way to 2nd place, chasing down our leader, Christopher Bell. He's running about a tenth faster a lap. There you see the gap between the two.
And that didn't take long, did it? I mean, he rolled through the field.
It's only 4 laps better tires that Kyle Larson has. And that shouldn't be that big of a difference. But Kyle Larson certainly has an amazing car. And
we've run 21 laps, and he's driven from 11th up to 2nd.
He's a little loose right there. Hanging it out in that 3rd and 4th corner. Parker.
Guys, you see Ryan Truex on pit road right there. He was running as high as in the top 10 and then dropped like a rock about 20 laps ago. He came across radio and said he lost his power steering, and then just a lap ago he said, guys, I've got to come in. I can't take it anymore. I can't handle this thing. And when we talk about how physical this place is, imagine trying to get around here without power steering this day and age. Almost impossible.
Yeah, Parker, it's not like it used to be where they set the front end for not having power steering. So you hear people say, well, they didn't used to have power steering. Yeah, well, they set the front end so you could turn the car. With these cars, they're set to have the power steering. And when you don't have it, you're in big trouble. And you definitely couldn't race in this kind of traffic that these guys are having to deal with.
Yeah, I don't believe that anybody could run without power steering with the current cars and the current configuration of the front geometry. It's a battle for the lead. Larson trying to get around this lap traffic. However these guys can get through there. It looks like Larson's going to make the move.
Going to get on the bottom.
It's not over yet, but he had to do that to stay in this. He had to stay in that. Oh, there he goes. He's going to clear him right here. Christopher Bell not able to get around the 35.
More so this racetrack than anywhere we go, lap traffic impacts how you can win this race or lose this race. We saw it last night in a truck race. It got crazy late. The modified race got crazy.
You got to watch, you know, as you're closing in on these guys, where they are running. So you know, all right, if he's going to run the high side, I got to be ready to make that pass at their opportune time so it doesn't delay me, hold me up, cost me a lot of time.
So now Bell, he's going to have to see where Larson is beating him to see how, you know, what he can do as a driver. I don't think at this point, Steve, I don't think they're going to be able to pit and make any changes to the car. I just think Bell's going to have to see what he can do different from a driving style standpoint to try to pick up some speed.
He won stage 1, he won stage 2, now back out front at Bristol. He has the freshest tires as well. Kyle Larson, it's going to be hard to get by him, but Christopher Bell right there as we go NASCAR nonstop. Fans, the way you show your loyalty to your drivers, you can grab t-shirts, twill jackets, hats, die-cast. That's all at the NASCAR shop. Just visit NASCAR.com/shop for all your favorite drivers' gear. And right now, a great battle that you have not missed one lap of. Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. These two have not been able to separate themselves.
This is incredible. This view is incredible. Look how close he's getting to the wall with the right rear quarter panel.
We've seen Larson so many times in these races go try to find a little speed, and he finds a wall, so you can see he's pushing it. I think when he got by Bell, he thought he was going to drive away from him, but Bell has a different idea.
I'm so surprised in that, too, because Bell's running shallow into the corner.
And look at the mess in front of him. Like, they're too wide. What do I do? Where do I go?
They come up on that slower lap car of Jones, and they have to go low. He's not going to run low. He's not going to move out of the way.
Oh, Larson knew he had to get on the inside. Bell was hoping he wouldn't. He could get side by side and beat him to the 4.
That 42 car, man, is yawed out.
Yeah,
It
meaning
is awesome.
the left rear quarter panel is. Look at the left rear quarter panel. How far off the bottom of the racetrack it is
So
compared
loose.
to the left front.
Looks like it's so loose. Hung out. Driving it.
Wow. Listen to the throttle on Bell's car. How early he's in the throttle.
These guys love racing each other. They competed against each other in the Chili Bowl this year. Oh, he missed the bottom a little bit. Got up out of the bottom groove. Going to cost him a ton of time.
When you switch lane, when you switch grooves and go to the bottom, you have to lift so much earlier than you do going to the top. So easy to miss it.
If you commit to the bottom and get out of that bottom groove, though, too, you lose a lot of time, which you just did.
Trouble.
These guys love to race each other. Love to beat each other. Have so much respect for each other. This is a fun for. Oh, you got a little bobble there. This is fun for all of us to watch.
I was going to say, this is incredible car control we're seeing out of both of these drivers.
See him try to get everything he can, and you're seeing him go over that line, from time to time. And it shows you how great these drivers are, how talented they are.
And also, as you watch him, put yourself in a driver's seat and think about what he's going through. You're doing 16-second laps. You're making decisions, split-second decisions. I mean, guy's going to run me in the wall, right? But you can't lift. Things happen so quickly here.
Larson out in front running in that second spot, though. Christopher Bell has really broke up a group of drivers that have tried to separate themselves. And I want to take a look at tonight's Toyota driver update. Christopher Bell, as I mentioned, up there in the second spot. Started second, running second. He has been out and led laps today. He's led 18 laps this race. The farthest he's been from the lead has been 13th.
Bell thought he was going to gain a little bit on Larson right there. Larson got in the lap traffic, but then they got too wide in front of Bell, and everything he thought he was going to gain, he gave up.
Yeah, really, when they're catching this much lap traffic, it comes down to who can get through it the quickest. It's cost Bell quite a bit of time. Larson's car seems to be able to go everywhere he wants it to go. He runs the bottom well.
And it's pretty clear. Larson's got 3 more cars in front of him. These 3, after that, it's pretty clear if he can get in front of these guys, it's going to open up for him.
What's amazing is we just saw Larson pass the 39 of Ryan Sieg, and you can kind of see the haves and have-nots there. Ryan Sieg, that team has 4 people that work in the garage on the 39 team. We're back in the shop. And Cowboy Starlin said 2 of them are truck drivers. So you got to think, all right, so 2 of the 4 guys are truck drivers that work on this 39 team. Those guys are working their tails off, and a great performance out of Ryan Sieg week in and week out. Right now, he just went a lap down, running in the 13th position.
Which is an excellent run for a team like that. Anytime those guys can finish in the top 15. Look at those guys. Larson, Bell, both sideways off of turn 2, using every bit of that racetrack. You got to run every lap. You run 10 tenths. Every lap you run 100%. Right on the edge.
All right, let's go through the field. Brought to you by Hardee's.
And guys, I could watch Kyle Larson drive all day as you're commenting how loose that car looks. Here's the crazy thing. They made no adjustments on that car all night, and he's dominating this race. The only issue he's had where the brakes have gotten too cold because he's not using them all. That's how good that car's handling, Dave.
Parker, Christopher Bell was told the 42 will fade. He'll come back to you. But one thing, you've got to keep that right rear on the car. Stop sliding it. You'll need it. Kelly?
Chase Elliott, one of a handful of drivers that will race the 23 this year, including his dad, Hall of Famer Bill Elliott, that will get behind the wheel next week. As a result, this team doesn't care about stage points or season points. They're just out to collect trophies. Chase Elliott running third and can see the leaders, Dave.
Matt Tift running fourth is not a surprise to Randall Burnett, his crew chief. He told me we practiced horrible in the spring, ran great until we crashed. They practiced horrible yesterday. They've been running great today. As for Justin Allgaier, he'd like to get one more adjustment on that 7 car. Hasn't been right where he needs it to be. And remember, the last stop, they lost time on pit road. Elliott Sadler was the first in this group to pit. He hit pit road on lap 146. By my calculations, he should be able to make it to the end, but he's got the oldest tires, Kelly.
Behind him is that 3 of Ty Dillon. He says this is his favorite racetrack. He says it reminds him of a dirt track when he runs up top, and his specialty, maneuvering around and working through traffic. He's done a nice job of it today. Behind him in 8th is Joey Logano. I asked him why he chooses to run the Xfinity race here at Bristol. He said because it's a track that is always evolving. He thinks he can learn something tonight that will help him tomorrow night. He said besides that, this is one bad you-know-what racetrack. Running in 9th behind him is Tyler Reddick in that 9 car, and this is a team that could desperately use a good finish. They've had a really frustrating couple of months this season. His crew chief, Dave Ellen's, telling me their priority is just to finish this race. Marty?
Kelly, I love the quote from Daniel Hemrick earlier this week. He said the hustle and grind it takes to run well here at Bristol, that fits my style. In fact, it fits the story of my entire career. And he's a great example of how quickly you can lose track position at Bristol. He was running 6th when this restart happened, slipped up in turn 4. He has been intense since then and has not been able to make his way forward, Rick.
Yeah, Marty, and there's only one car behind him that's on the lead lap, and that's Cole Custer running in 11th. Out front, Kyle Larson has a 1-second lead as we go NASCAR nonstop. battle for the lead continuing. Christopher Bell has reeled in the 42 of Kyle Larson. That's the gap for one right now.
You saw Kyle Larson make a little contact with the wall a few laps ago. Christopher Bell's putting a lot of pressure on him. That's what he needs to do. Kyle Larson talked about he's made mistakes in this race, not been able to win it. Put him in a position where he's got to drive that car harder than he wants to.
Yeah, the rubber builds up on this racetrack, it changes, and it changes the balance of the car, and it looks like it's become an issue for the 42.
And that's how close it is for the lead right now. Larson on the high side. Christopher Bell down low.
He's fearful, he'll make the mistake.
There you hear it.
Look at this
Keep
in
the
front of
pressure
him.
on.
This is going to be interesting. Who can get through this mess that's in front of him? The 00, he's going to be racing to stay in the lead lap. He's not going to just move over.
Cole Custer currently running 11th, trying to stay on the lead lap.
So far, Larson's been the guy that's been able to get through the lap traffic better, and it appears right now it's kind of calmed this battle down just as he's starting to cut through the traffic. A little bit better than Christopher Bell. Right here, you said it. That 00 is not going to lay over. It's going to make it a challenge for Larson. This is where Christopher Bell
into the wall, the 40. Chad Fincham gets into the wall. Caution comes out. That means restart.
Maybe pit stop.
Oh, crew chief chiming in. Strategy coming into play.
There's only 11 cars in the lead lap and at least 80 laps on your tires for everybody in the top 10. So it would be really hard for me to be one of these cars in the top 10.
I'm fine.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's great to hear. It's
Chad Fincham.
Man, he has blown both hood flaps. You see the tether on the hood flap, just trying to keep it connected so it doesn't get away, get near fans.
90 blew a tire in front of us, and I had nowhere to go. The one was passing us. Blocked the brakes up, spun around, hit the inside wall, killed the right front.
Oh, wow.
Knoxville, hometown for Fincham, former East winner here at Bristol.
You heard him say the 90 blew a tire in front of him.
Yeah, he's right. Well, the 90 got up in the dirt a little bit. Did not blow a tire, but definitely slowed down.
Just didn't expect him to be going that slow when he got to him.
I wonder if those roof hood flaps were properly installed. Those things came out pretty easily.
I was going to say, they didn't open. They just popped out.
Come out.
Like emergency exits here.
Yeah.
And bye-bye.
That's a big impact.
That is a hard shot.
Huge.
Yeah, he definitely had closed the gap a little too quickly there.
Well, he's racing that guy underneath him, and he's got his eye on him and in the middle of the corner, and he comes off the corner. Next thing you know, there's somebody slow in front of you. And a wreck that doesn't happen many places other than this racetrack. Things happen that quickly.
All right, Rick, so you have the 42 of Larson, Bell, Chase Elliott, Allgaier, Tiff, Sadler, Ty Dillon, Logano, Hemrick, Reddick, and Custer. That's it. 11 cars on the lead lap. 40 to go. About 80 laps on their tires. We know track position matters because we saw Elliott Sadler keep it for a little while. We also know new tires and a great car matter because the 42 drove back up to the field. So as the cars come around turn one right here, we'll see who takes the left-hand turn to come to pit road, if anyone.
And down there is the 42. The 20 is going to follow him down there also. Parker.
Guys, Kyle Larson's going to pit out of the lead. He told them he was building loose, but they said this is only going to be about a 38-lap run. So if you don't need any adjustments, we're not going to make them. 4 Goodyear tires and a splash of gas on the 42 car, and it looks like they will not be making those adjustments, Dave.
From second place, Christopher Bell comes down for 4 tires. He said it was just a little bit free as it fires off, and then it stayed that way. Marty?
Daniel Hemrick said it was like a light switch when it got loose off turn 4 that one time and it lost all those spots. It never came back. He said, I don't know, but the car's gone extremely free. So Danny Stockman's going to make an air pressure adjustment here. And also you'll see them intentionally not get it full of fuel because they want very little fuel to help tighten up that car, Kelly.
Chase Elliott in that 23 said he was pretty good running around the bottom, but he got a little bit snug up on that top line. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment for this short run. 4 tires and fuel.
And the race off pit road, Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott grabbing a spot, taking it away from Christopher Bell. coming up on just 36 laps to go in the Xfinity Series racing from Bristol. Telecast presented by Shell Rotella. And restarts. Always exciting. Now Kyle Larson has the opportunity to choose the inside or outside line, and I would guess he's going to choose that line that would put him right up there against the wall.
You would assume, but
and look at this.
Well, so last night, guys, we watched the truck race from here, and it seemed like the line, even though the top was decent, on the restarts it seemed a little inconsistent which line you wanted to be in.
Well, you can see when we were showing it in pit road. Watch Ty Dillon. He puts the brakes on. Elliott puts the brakes on. Everybody just stops because they're trying to get the outside lane. And
yeah, they're getting information from the spotters.
Right. Ty Dillon slowed down enough, and now he's still in the inside lane. So probably it didn't work out the way he wanted.
And is Elliott Sadler.
So by our scoring, it's Larson, Elliott, Allgaier, Bell, Ty Dillon, Logano, Sadler, Tift, Hemrick, Custer, the top 10. Dave.
How relaxed is driver 20? Listen.
Jason, this is pretty fun right here, man. Looks like it. It looks like it. I'm excited for you.
We're excited too, Rick.
That's right. Coming up on 34 to go. Kyle Larson has chosen the outside line. On the inside, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, Justin Allgaier making up row 2. Green flag back in the air.
Allgaier has nailed these restarts tonight.
Yeah, so is Larson. I mean, Larson's been clear into turn 1 on every restart.
Larson trying to pull away, separate himself from the pack. Allgaier makes his way up to second. Christopher Bell, who is challenging Larson, has fallen back to the 4th spot. Chase Elliott in that yellow. Ollie's Spartan Outlet, number 23, running in the 3rd position.
It'd be hard for Christopher Bell to get by both of these cars to get back to Larson. I mean, really, what he wants right now is a caution. He would love to get a caution without him being in it and restarting that outside lane.
Absolutely. It's a battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. On the right. Battle for 3rd, 4th on the left. That top groove is just so good at this point in the race. The bottom's gone away. Everybody's making time up high, and it's just hard to pass down there on the bottom. Everybody's came in, got new tires. Everybody's running qualifying laps right now, Jeff.
Yeah, the tires are so good right now, not many people are going to make mistakes. It's hard to take advantage of them. You see Ty Dillon way up the racetrack, put Custer in the wall, really. Ran him all the way up.
Custer again gets into the wall, this time a little bit of help.
That's what happens. I mean, you get run out of patience, and you have to take advantage of guys, and that's what Ty Dillon did. Cole Custer obviously not happy about it, I'm sure. But that's a box kind of you're put in when it's a one-groove racetrack like this. You got to take advantage of people. Use them up a little bit. Let's take a look and see how that all happened.
See Ty driving in, almost trying to slide job him, and didn't clear him. See him drives in the corner real deep, carrying more speed than he can to keep the car down, but Cole's there. Just runs him in the wall. Slide job's cool when it works.
Fight for 3rd continuing. Christopher Bell all over the back bumper now of Chase Elliott, but Elliott holding on to that spot.
And Chase had a fast car, so not quite as good as Bell, and you can see Bell putting the pressure on him, but Joe Logano's working his way into this. And Joey has such a unique line here. Watch him turn down in the center and run low on exit. Even with that lap car there. The 3's out of the groove in the fence.
Got a tire down.
A little sideways there, got into the wall.
He's got a right rear down, I believe, probably from that contact.
Yep.
With the 00 Cole Custer.
So Ty Dillon's going to try to get down to the bottom of the racetrack if he can so that he doesn't cause a caution.
It's hard to get to the bottom. It's hard to find a clear place to go.
Here's another slide job that didn't quite work out. Contact with his teammate. Tiff, more contact. That's all it takes. Right rear tire's flat.
Yeah, up into the wall. Everyone trying to get around him. Another teammate there in 21. Hemrick already had damage to the left front, but he tries to avoid Dillon as Dillon goes up into the wall, and now will finally make it to pit road.
Todd's had a rough year in the Cup car, really just trying to make something happen.
Now Chase Elliott has chased down the 7.
Yeah, he's drove away from Christopher Bell. See how he's done it. He's running a lower line. He's went to the bottom of the racetrack, found some speed.
And while this is going on, Larson's 2.5 seconds away. Nothing's changed up front with him.
Little different line for Allgaier, trying to stay in front of Chase Elliott. Here comes Logano as well, as he's running the back bumper now of the 20 of Christopher Bell. So Bell, after being really in contention to win this race when he was battling with Larson, after the pit stop has fallen back and now running 4th, but hanging on to run 4th. The battle for 2nd, though, heats up.
Elliott's back to the top. Look at the run he gets running that top. He went to the bottom for a little bit. Didn't seem to see any results down there. Back to the top. He's going to have a great run off of turn 2.
Allgaier's going to have to go to the top right here. He cannot run the bottom with that run coming. That's what he did. Now he just has to beat him to the next corner. Should have the preferred lane here.
Now Christopher Bell's going to come in and fill that void if Chase Elliott can't. And Chase will clear.
Chase has a good car right now. You said it a little bit ago. He had driven away from Bell.
The bottom seems to work really good in 1 and 2. So if you can't get on a position on a car, it is still an option to be able to make a pass down there. You see Allgaier being able to run up beside the inside of Chase Elliott in 1 and 2 using the bottom.
Oh,
look at here.
Gosh.
And that's where lap traffic comes into play. Christopher Bell has to check up hard. But now the battle will continue between the 20 and the 7. Remember, running for a regular season championship. Those two are fighting for every point. Chase Elliott now working past some of the lap traffic. He's right on the back bumper again of Justin Allgaier.
Justin retakes that position as they came up on lap traffic, and Justin was on the bottom. Lap traffic was in the way up high.
13 to go, man. Can't give up anything. Can't lift now.
Just when you think one of these guys has found a line that's quick, they get by one another, but they can't drive away.
It's interesting. Look at the different lines. See Allgaier on the bottom, Elliott up top. Wow, that's close.
Christopher Bell trying to find a way around Elliott. Elliott trying to find a way around Allgaier.
That's discipline right there, to be committed to the bottom of one corner and the top of another. Because it takes such a different challenge running the high side. So many different ways to drive the corner, throttle inputs, patience. So to run these two completely different lines at each end of the racetrack really takes some discipline. Running the top usually at most racetracks takes a couple laps to sort of figure it out. You don't have that here. You have to go up there and commit. Look at Joey Logano.
Jumped on the inside. Bell tried to block him. He's trying to beat him to the lap car.
Yeah, took the letters off the inside, off that left rear tire of the 20 car. Christopher Bell.
3 wide coming off the corner.
3 wide. Bell getting squeezed back now as Logano on the inside, trying to take that spot away. Bell stays high.
Trying to work around lap car of David Starr. Caused that position to change. I think Logano's got a little speed here. He's looked better than he's looked all night long.
Yeah, Bell definitely does not have the speed he had before that caution. He could run Larson down. I thought he had his best car at that point. Doesn't have it now. Look at him drive in the corner.
Well, that's that line Logano has. He'll go in high and stop the center of the corner, turn and run off the bottom. You have to give up a little speed in the center, but you get such a great run off the bottom that continues down the front straightaway.
While all that's going on the left side of your screen, 3.2 seconds, the lead for Kyle Larson. 4 laps of racing to go for Larson.
Great battle for third. Chase Elliott's got an issue.
He's got a problem.
Slow on the track now. The 23 of Chase Elliott, not up to speed.
He thinks he has a loose wheel. He thinks it's the left front on the 23, a loose wheel.
And so he has definitely stepped off the pace, and he starts to fall back now with just under 3 laps to go from Bristol. Allgaier hanging on to second. Then it's 1.7 seconds back to Joey Logano, then Christopher Bell right on Logano's back bumper.
Hemrick spinning, Hemrick in the wall.
And the 21 in the wall brings the caution out before the white flag.
And guys, he had a right rear going down for a while, or a loose right rear wheel. They had a big debate about whether or not to come to pit road, but with just 3 laps left, they decided to stay out, and this is the result.
The result now will be overtime. And that means that Kyle Larson is going to have to hold. Larson will have to hold off Justin Allgaier on the restart, and Allgaier has been great on restarts.
That's right. That's a great point, Rick. This guy right here has launched well all night long, and he likes the bottom. So I can about guarantee you Larson's going to give him the bottom, and if Allgaier can get a great launch like he's done, he'll have a shot.
So strategy-wise, you wouldn't take away the preferred line when you're the control car? Well, the guy you're racing against?
You can't give somebody the outside. I mean, you got to take the outside. That's the best lane. I just don't think you can give that up.
I think Larson would assume the outside's his preferred line.
Yeah.
Behind them, though, Christopher Bell's going to line up 4th. Exactly where he wants to be.
Well, I think the outside is definitely the lane as long as you launch like Larson has all night. And not even clear, but a good head start into turn 1. I would hate to drive into there door to door and give that guy on the inside a chance to run me up. You mentioned how narrow that top groove is. If someone wants to throw one of those big slide jobs that don't quite clear, it wouldn't be popular, but it may earn you the win.
Allgaier was running the bottom of the racetrack on both ends, and we've seen that bottom groove of 1 and 2 be competitive. Do you think if he can get a good restart, be door to door into turn 1, whether he can make this a race? Let's look at some of the
Yeah, we talked about Allgaier and how good the restarts are. Well, early in the race, he showed us that he's going to make stuff happen, and he's launched well, and he's been very aggressive into the corner. So right here, he's got great speed, but hey, man, I'm going to get 3 wide. I mean, it's not something you normally see at Bristol. Normally, you just don't make that move. So you can expect Allgaier to be very aggressive on this restart. And I think he has nothing to lose. He has 3 wins already this year, so those points are going to go to the playoffs. Getting another win would be huge for him, Dave.
And Jeff, remember last week at Mid-Ohio, he had a fast race car. They had good strategy, and they had a very fortuitous caution. Tonight, fast race car, good strategy, and a very fortuitous caution.
So, Dave, are you predicting that he wins the race?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying 2 in a row could look pretty equal in terms of how he got there.
I was getting ready to say, Dave, I was when you said it was a lucky caution, we won't know that until the race is over.
That's right.
Because
That's
many
right.
times here at Bristol, I thought, man, I got a lucky break, and next thing I know, I'm in the infield care center.
Not a lucky break at all.
It's really going to come down to how good a launch Larson gets. What Larson does to try to give himself the advantage on throttling up his car and getting the tires to lock up, get a hold of the racetrack, not spin the tires. What can he do to put the inside line or the guy starting on the inside line at a disadvantage?
And that's what they're doing right here. You see them swerving and weaving and giving throttle to it, spinning the rear tires, getting those tires ready to launch. It's so important to have those rear tires hooked up.
Decision made. Larson's going to go on the outside. Allgaier on the inside.
Just about every restart, Larson has been clear of the inside line before they get to turn 1. I mean, it's just been so hard for that inside line to get decent starts and decent grip on the throttle.
If you're Logano, you're hoping the 7 of Allgaier can get a great launch, and now you know he's going to be door-to-door in the 42. Maybe run him up the racetrack, leave the bottom open for you. That's really what you're hoping for right now if you're Logano.
Larson's a control car, which means when he comes into the restart zone, he gets to determine when they go. So he has that opportunity, but the lights come back on the pace car, so they'll go around again. Hemrick.
He is stuck, Rick. He can't turn the car to the right, and he's trying to get on pit road, and every time he backs up a little bit, tries to turn it so he can get to their pit stall, they just can't do it, so they're going to have to push Daniel Hemrick behind the wall, and Danny Stockman not very happy. He's saying on the radio, all of that for a loose right rear wheel.
You saw him Hemrick take the steering wheel off and start to unstrap from the 21. Frustrated that it ends this way. You know, Justin Allgaier is yet to lead. He led only the final lap in 2 of his 8 wins already. This is all the way back in 2010 here at Bristol when he was able to pass Brad Keselowski for the win. All smiles for Allgaier.
I almost forget this part of his career. Don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he was tagged by Penske to be one of their future drivers, and he had a great career with them as an Xfinity driver for whatever reason.
Jeff Green overheating in the 38. You see the steam at the base of the windshield.
So Dale, you mentioned Justin Allgaier, and you know what comes to mind is, you know, this is the series, right, where names are made. And we talk so much about some of these young drivers, but it's also a place where sometimes drivers go back and almost revamp their career. We see Elliott Sadler has made a great career in Xfinity. But with the year Justin Allgaier is having, this is a career year. You have to ask yourself, you know, does this mean he's on to great things at the Xfinity level with movement at the Cup? Is he going to end up in the You just never know. I mean, he is really redefining, I think is a great way to put it. He's redefining who he is as a race car driver. And look at the season. 3 wins. How about the laps led? Over 500 laps led. That's putting yourself in position time and time again. I know Dave said not lucky, but just fortunate timing of the yellows, but you still have to be there. And he's continuing to put himself there in these races.
So Justin Allgaier, and he is waiting for the restart. While we wait for the restart, let's listen in on Logano's radio.
Hey, just remember what that 7 did to you.
Oh, that's right.
So when you forget, there's other people there to remind you.
Oh,
just
that's
to be
right.
clear.
Let me check the scorecard real quick. Oh, yeah, you got one.
Yeah, many times they say drivers never forget. Well, many times it's the crew members that remind the driver to never forget.
And just so you remember, that was more or less a slide job that Justin Allgaier slid in front of the 22, and the 22 really checked up a little bit to give him the room to get up there. So that's what they're reminding him of.
So guys, so Kyle Larson, he's kind of redefining the slide job and making it work. What's now acceptable on this front row? If the 7 gets a launch and he fires it to the bottom, knowing he's coming up the racetrack, Jeff, you and I have this conversation, right? What is, quote, approved in this lineup? What's an approved pass?
Well, you know, Tony Stewart used to say, if you block me, I'm going to wreck you. Well, I got to believe, I'm sorry, when somebody drives up and pulls up in front of you and you got to slow down big time to keep from hitting them, they're blocking you. So in my world, you know, a slide job is one thing, but just driving up in front of you, intentionally making you stop, that puts that person in jeopardy to get knocked out of the way, in my opinion.
They have to get all the way back around and the white flag to make this an official overtime. And if they get to the white flag, then the next flag will end the race. But if they don't get to the white flag, they'll try it again. Larson on the outside, Allgaier on the inside.
Well, it's a pretty good restart for the inside line. Christopher Bell shoving Larson into the corner.
Credit one overtime. Allgaier on the inside, fighting for the lead as they go down the backstretch. Drives it down on the inside. They're door to door as they come out. White flag in the air one more time around. Larson has cleared him. Allgaier, look at his hands. Fighting for second, but Christopher Bell makes the move. He takes second away. Allgaier all the way up high. Larson comes out. He'll win at Bristol. Finally win at Bristol.
How about Cole Custer fourth?
Thank you all.
Where did he come from?
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Way to end 2018 season with you. It's been an honor to work with you this year. Yeah, thanks a lot, Shipley. Thanks all you guys on this Xfinity team. It's been fun.
It's the last race for the Cup regulars.
A little dirt track in there out of Kyle Larson. Spinning those rear tires as he was going through the turn. Having some fun now. I said the first win for Kyle Larson at Bristol. That's right. He has quite a few second place finishes. Last win in the Xfinity Series came in Daytona in July for Kyle Larson. And he did the same thing, swept the stages and got the win. He gets stage 1 and stage 2 wins here, and then goes on to claim the checkered flag. Little Alan Kulwicki action here. Backwards victory lap.
Yeah, we're talking about a driver with real potential to do the sweep.
Won the pole for the Cup race tomorrow. Maybe he will bring the broom out. He'll head up to the very unique victory lane. This racetrack, to get to victory lane, you have to go to the second story. The building down in turn 3. An impressive performance. He had to fight for this one. Christopher Bell, toward the end of the prescribed distance, gave him all he could handle. And then on the restart, Allgaier fought him very hard. And then in the end, it was once again Christopher Bell that was able to get by Allgaier and take second. Kyle Larson once again parks it. But this is the first time he's parked it at Bristol. Kelly.
Kyle Larson taking his time to celebrate the win here at Bristol on a Friday night. 3 times runner-up. What's it like to finally be victorious here at Bristol?
It feels really good. I wish Kyle Busch wouldn't have had his troubles so I could have raced him, but it still feels really, really cool to win a race here finally at Bristol. I've been close so many times. This is my best racetrack by far, I feel like, this and Homestead. So it was cool to win. A really good Xfinity crowd up there. Can't thank all you guys enough. Had DC Solar on the car and got them a win. So if we can get them another win tomorrow night, that'd be pretty special as well. But just really exciting. Man, I've been so close so many times. And I thought Bell was going to steal this run from me a few times throughout that race. He was really good. Him and I have very similar driving styles. So I knew, he'd be another one that Kyle and I would have to beat. So he showed that for sure. And we had the yellow there 2 to go, and I was like, man, again, I'm gonna lose one here late. But we're able to get an average restart and get the win. So just really excited and can't wait for tomorrow.
Hey, you mentioned these fans who are now sticking it out as the rain has just started to fall. What do you want to say to them?
Yeah, thank you guys. You guys are the greatest. Always love coming to Bristol. The atmosphere here is amazing, and you fans make it what it is. So can't thank you enough, and can't wait to see this place packed tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's right. It's one of the most coveted tickets in all of sports. The night race at Bristol. Under the lights tonight, Kyle Larson wins in Xfinity. Cup Series is going to have a week off next week, but former NASCAR champion, will drive against the rising stars in the Xfinity Series. That's right, Bill Elliott gets behind the wheel at Road America. That's next Saturday. Race coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Take a look at the playoff standings. And leaderboard now as Christopher Bell, Justin Allgaier, Tyler Reddick once again. With wins, they've locked themselves into the playoffs. Everybody else, points-wise, Elliott Sadler, he's got a comfortable enough lead. He'll be heading into the playoffs. Cole Custer as well. Daniel Hemrick looking good. Then down Brandon Jones, Ryan Truex. Only 12 advance into the playoffs in the Xfinity Series. Ross Chastain right now 42 points above Michael Annett for that final position in the playoffs.
I mentioned next week, the standalone event. I would expect very few, if any, Cup drivers will be making the trip. They're going to enjoy that weekend off. So, right, who's that going to open the door for to go in there and steal some points?
And let's find out what that unique feeling is in Victory Lane at Bristol. Parker's down there.
Well, guys, he's just taking a drink right now. He's going to get him out of this car here soon. A much deserved drink, of course. Here he comes. Kyle, congratulations. Hey, I got to ask you something. You're up there at the top, right next to the wall. Christopher Bell's racing you as close as you can be, and you look loose, and you're somehow holding on to it. How do you do that? I want to know, just as a driver here watching that, how do you do that?
I don't know. All the experience from racing dirt cars, I guess. That's why, Bell and I are really good here, and Kyle Busch would be really good in a dirt car. So I always loved coming to Bristol. Our DC Solar Chevy was awesome. As soon as we unloaded it yesterday from practice, and knew we'd have a shot at Kyle. Wish he wouldn't have had his issues, so we could have battled it out with him, because I felt like Bell, myself, and Kyle were all going to be pretty even. So, but it is what it is. I'll take my first win here at Bristol. Oh,
and it had something to say there?
Hey, who won? He's funny, but no, our car was great. Last Xfinity race of the season for me, so can't thank all these guys enough for allowing me to come have some fun with them. I think that's 4 wins, so 4 out of 6 races. That's pretty good percentage. So, or 4 out of 7, I don't know what it is, but anyways, good percentage, and happy about that. So, man, I can't wait for tomorrow. I feel like my Cup car is really good too, and it'd be nice to sweep the weekend.
What an incredible year for Kyle Larson in the Xfinity Series, Marty.
Well, Justin Allgaier, we thought he had a shot. So good on the restarts all night long. Walk me through that final restart, Justin.
We struggled just a little bit all night on the long run, and the restarts are where we felt like we were going to have to try to make as much hay as we could, and really just proud of all these guys. We didn't have the strongest car tonight, but they kept working on it in the pits, and really proud of everybody on this Brand Professional Agriculture Camaro team. They did a great job. Just came up a little bit short there at the end. I mean, that's all you can do. It's hard battling here at Bristol. This place is so much fun. Hopefully the fans that were here tonight had a great time. Over the fans at home that were watching had a fantastic time watching. It was definitely a cool race.
Were you thinking going into one that was good? Because it looked like you had a restart equal to what the 42 had.
Yeah, I was really lucky. He spun the tires pretty bad on that last restart. And, I probably should have gone to the bottom in hindsight. I tried to run through the middle. It had worked earlier and just didn't have the run off of 2 and let the 20 get to us. And unfortunately, once he got to me, he got me a little bit loose. And it was kind of game over from there, but still rallied to a top 3, second and third here between the 2 races. So not at all bad. Just wish we could have got a little more.
And plus, it's been a good month of August for Justin Allgaier. He finished 3rd here at Bristol tonight.
Yeah, coming off the win from a week ago. And tomorrow, really looking forward to tomorrow's race under the lights once again. A little bit earlier, 1 hour. They have moved things up. NASCAR America pre-race at 5, 6 o'clock countdown to green. And Monster Energy Series racing from Bristol at 6:30. Then post-race coverage at 9:30. So Kyle Larson wins the Xfinity Series race on Friday night And Saturday night, he starts from the pole. What do you think about the possibility of a sweep for young Kyle Larson?
Well, I think he has a very good chance. He mentioned how good his Cup car was. That's what it looked like in practice. He kept twice. He said he wishes Kyle Busch was still in the race because he wanted to race him. Well, he's going to get that chance tomorrow night. Kyle's car looks good, but a lot of names. Eric Jones looked great in practice. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in a must-win situation in my mind. He looked good in practice, so it's a deep field. It's going to be a battle.
Jeff Jr., we're going to see more of what we saw on the track tomorrow night?
Just about the same thing. And I think we're going to see really good action. Guys running right on that fence. Larson looked awesome today in practice. Saw it tonight. He knows how to get around this track. He loves this racetrack. That attitude is going to be good for him tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think what we saw tonight was a great race, a lot of fun to watch. And you take tomorrow, you put that many more good cars on this racetrack, you have that much more competition all the way around the racetrack. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Tonight was great. I expect tomorrow to be the same.
Two grooves here at Bristol, and we know where Kyle Larson likes to run, right up against the wall. And he was doing that tonight as he goes to victory lane for the first time. Join us on NBCSN tomorrow night. It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing. Coming up next, it's Racing Roots, Martin Truex Jr.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.